Ever since I was 7 or 8, history's been my favorite mischief. We boys were out chunking rocks at tin cans and kicking them down the road, and there I was after milking and the chores were done with my nose in the history book, trying to figure out what that powdered wig fellas was fussing about 2 centuries ago. Shows up. It turns out that they were arguing about the same thing that we spend half our evenings hollering about on the news today. Who gets to have guns? Who gets to give the orders? Folks ask if the Second Amendment protects the rights of people to keep and bear arms. Well, James Madison, that little fellow with a big brain, wrote in the Federalist 46 like a man who had been to Europe. Take one look at a disarmed population and said, no, thank you. I'll stick with the Americans. He said we had an advantage over being armed over the people almost every other nation. And he tied it to the governors of hometowns' loyalty and the neighbors who knew their officers by their first name. In plain country talk, he figured it was mighty hard for a would-be tyrant to boss folks around when the folks had ballots and backbones and a couple of rifles in the closet. Madison pointed out that the European governments feared to trust their people with arms, and hinted that if those folks had both guns and local power like Americans did, the throne of every tyrant in Europe would be speedily overturned. He wasn't writing about hunting guides. He was sketching a political math problem. Armed citizens plus authority equal headaches for the tyrants and peace of mind for everybody else. Hamilton claimed in two of the Federalist Papers 28, he asked a question nobody likes to say out loud. What if your representative turns on you? Well, he said the people had the original right of defense, the kind of that existed before the government came along and notarized it. Like a horse before the saddle. The Federalist 29 described the militia as the people at large, not some fancy uniformed outfit, just the farmers, the storekeepers, and the neighbors, and who gathered around now and then to stay ready. And in order to prepare the echoes of Pennsylvania, warning that standing armies in peacetime are about as safe as storing dynamite in the closet. See, the Second Amendment didn't fall from the skies. It was as a gift from Washington. It grew out of the world where everybody just simply assumed that free people would be armed and able to resist lawless power. The founders didn't say this counts if you're on the right age, if you live in the right district, or if you pass the government's good behavior test. They talked about, say, people at large being armed properly equipped, with the advantage of being armed and a original right of self-defense that outranks any office, any agency, or any alphabet soup bureau. But these days, a lot of the officials act like liberty is something that you lease from the state month to month. And as long as you do your paperwork is tidy and your opinions are and house trained with yours, the founders of receipt in ink. They built a system for armed citizens, strong governments, and deep suspicions of standing armies were everyday hardware of freedom, not optional accessories. They trusted the people with guns a whole lot more than they trusted the government with excuses. Well, if this twisted your ear a little bit, drop your thoughts below and give a thumbs up. And I sure appreciate you subscribing. And this is Thoughts While Thinking, and these opinions are mine.